Are you not getting results you want on your fly fishing cast? Maybe it's because your back cast isn't getting straight. Today we're going to take a look at the main reasons people do not straighten out their back cast and how you can improve yours. This is Chris Myers, Orlando Fly Casting Lessons. I teach one-on-one fly casting right here in the Central Florida area. So if you're going to be around Orlando, you can come visit me for a private lesson, and I can also analyze your cast on video. If you're not a subscriber to this channel, please click the subscribe button to get all my fly casting videos. One of the most common things that I see with people's fly cast is they're not getting the distance or the accuracy they want on the forward cast because there's a huge problem with the back cast not straightening. So we're going to show what that looks like so that you can take a look at your own cast, whether it's having someone videotape you or just turning around to see it yourself, and see if you recognize any of these issues. I'm going to show you how to fix them, making your cast go farther with less effort. Before we start any fly casting, I want you to try this simple experiment so you can get a good idea of how important it is and how much difference it makes when your back cast is straight behind you. So take about 20-25 feet of fly line outside your tip. Just lay it out straight on the ground behind you. Lift your rod up into your back cast position. Make sure your line is straight. Then we're going to accelerate through the stroke, make a nice firm stop, and you can shoot out a bunch of additional line doing that. Take that same 20-25 feet of line and do one of two things. Either lay it out in a big curve or put it in a pile behind you with a bunch of slack. Put your rod up in the exact same position. Use the exact same amount of power you just used on that last stroke. And it fell in a pile halfway that the last cast went. Because most of that stroke going forward was doing nothing but pulling all the slack I had laid out on the ground. Whether it's laid out on the ground or up in the air, if you are spending some or all of your back cast pulling slack out of the line, you're never going to get the result you're looking for going forward. So I find two common ways that the back cast does not straighten out for people. And the first most common way is people who cast down in the back. And there's a variety of ways people do that, but it can look something like this. Comes up, 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 down. So if all my back casts are going down, down, you can see as I come forward, my line has never gotten straight. My line has not gotten straight. My rod is not bending. I'm not pulling on a straight line, telling it the direction I want to go. I am pulling slack out of a loose line, which is not helping us cast. And the most common reason people cast down in the back is because they bring their rod up to a certain point around in here, and then they stop moving the hand, but the rod's still in front of or maybe even directly above their head. And if I just tried to make a cast there, it's not enough motion to move that length of line. So we need more rod motion, but if I'm not going to move my hand any farther, you're going to have to finish with a bunch of wrist, which goes down. So the very first thing you can look at is take a video of your cast and see if your back casts are going down, and it puts a big sag in my line. We want our back cast to be going up or at least level if we expect a narrow loop accurate cast in the front. So our back cast should go up, 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 up. It goes up and it stops going up. The loop should go up. That gives it time to straighten out back there behind me and not me worrying about it hitting the ground. The second problem with casting down in the back is because it's going to hit the ground, I have to hurry up and come forward, especially if you're casting really low, and then you get a big pile right in front of you. You have to hurry up, and there is no pause back there. So reason number two for not getting the back cast to straighten, if there is no or very little pause going on back there. So when we're casting, there must be a distinct pause, 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 where the rod is frozen or drifting farther back, allowing that line to straighten. If our rod is coming forward while the fly and the fly line are still heading backward, we are stealing away stroke. So that would look something like this. Well, there is no pause back there. You'll often hear a little pop from your leader. If you have a very light leader, you can even break your fly off from that little cracking sound, which is a mini little sonic boom from snapping the line so fast back the other direction, it makes a little cracking noise in the air. So if you've been hearing that behind you, that is definitely from you coming forward while it's still traveling backward. The third most common reason that people cannot or do not allow their line to straighten is because it does not have enough line speed going back behind them and gravity sucks it down. So we could have a perfectly level, straight cast like this. So here's a nice straight line back cast. It's going slightly up in the back, slightly down in the front. I'm going to take that same path, but I'm not going to add as much acceleration throughout that stroke, so I'll be going much slower at the end of that stroke. And now you can see my line is getting a big sag in it back here, and it's almost sagged down to the ground. So as I pull forward, I have to pull all that droop out of my line, which wastes my stroke going forward. So when we have all that sag, or when we are whether gravity is putting it there or we are putting it there by casting down, it's the same kind of sag. If I have sag and it took me all the way up here to pull that sag out, now my cast is either going to be extremely short and not long enough to unroll the line, or it forces me to do this, which sometimes will allow you to get the line straight, but oftentimes ends up in a big pile off the end of your fly rod, because we're telling it to go right there and fall down in a pile instead of going out and straighten out. Now let's put this all together. Let's make a few strokes that show what a good cast should look like. Straight, 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 straight. Now I'm going to make a cast where I'm bending the wrist too much, going down in the back, down, 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 and then a cast where the line speed isn't enough, even though the path is straight, I don't have enough line speed. And last but not least, we didn't even touch on it, but you could make your back cast go down because you're casting too fast and too hard, which looks something like this. What is it doing? It's going down on the ground and putting a huge sag in there. So that is another way that you can create that sag in the back cast. But until you see what is going on back here, it's very difficult to impossible for you to address and correct the issues you have up here, because they're most likely starting back here. Set up your camera, or at least turn your head around and see if your back cast is going out and up, out and up. Is it straightening out fully, or are you coming forward or having to come forward way too soon? So hopefully those few tips help tune up your cast. If you're looking for more ways to fix and improve your fly cast, please check out one of my fly casting playlists right here.